And the statewide contract that was proposed 2 years ago would not have saved money for the majority of districts. Sort of like the statewide transportation system. But the collaboratives, the East Bay Collaborative, the group, the governmental GRB.
GHGRI.
Yes, GHGRI, Group Health Benefits of Rhode Island. Yes, the idea that everybody would be in a group like that, because not everybody is, and that possibly there be some sort of larger overarching group. In other words, rather than placing it all in the state's hands, sort of be a little more proactive from our own, on our own side. We've done what we can to this point. Now that we're in GH.
That one.
That one, no. Yeah. Anyway, so the people were very skeptical about a statewide system, but not skeptical about maybe combining some of these already existing pools into a larger pool.
But that makes perfect sense to me, but what about the point of taking it out of the contract as we reopen negotiations for new contracts?
In fact,
separating out health insurance from other contracts.
One of the things Tim talked about was wanting to put together a model FIN contract, sort of like the Education Partnership did, that we could go forward to the legislature with as a potential, new contractual structure. And that would be one of the first things taken out would be health insurance.
Yeah, because there was a law proposed, I don't know if it had, that said that you couldn't any longer specify a carrier.
Correct.
That happened.
That happened. That passed. That passed. You cannot specify the carrier.
Okay.
So, I'm sorry.
No, I'm done.
So question on, I'm hearing a lot of feedback that a lot of the different districts have looked at ways to do some shared services, and they're saying that there's no return on investment. What's the timeline for implementation? I mean, for any of these, you got to invest in the build before you're going to get any return. Is it really just year over year that we're looking at, or are we talking about a 3 to 5 year?
I think we're looking at finding a way to do it.
Yeah, not little of any of these have come to fruition. I mean, things like the East G Business Department, that has happened and that has been in place for at least 5 years.
So that's significantly long enough to tell.
To tell, yeah.
I mean, because it does take more administrative costs to do these things.
Well, the town charter, the town doesn't have charter accounts.
They don't have a uniform.
They don't have a uniform. So their budget structure is entirely different than ours. So it's not like you can combine that. You doubled the work by buying it.
So Dana, is your question
about
about
like either person is sitting around all the
Well, I guess my question is just to raise the curiosity flag when people say there's no money to be saved there. And just, maybe this year there isn't, but there is an investment anytime you do that in personnel you need manpower to go out and look for contracts that then you can get collective bargaining around. And there's just no way around it. That it will cost more in the first couple of years while you're figuring it out.
Well, Bristol Warren, the chair, spoke of that consolidation about 13 years ago, and that they have saved a great deal of money, having common, similar goals, similar communities came together. They had closed down schools, and so forth. They have found savings in that, and it was painful to get started. And there may be economic reality. That's why we're talking about it.
Right.
What can we do?
Perfect.
But I think part of, and I'll jump in about Kathy's Texas, school thing. Yeah, according, we talked about last year too.
Yep.
And it'll be talked about this year. And it'll be talked about. What are we going to do?
Spin the wheels.
Yeah. And so, and I hate to, well, I don't hate to. It just sounds cynical. But I mean, each community has such a stake in educating their children, and we know how to do it. Well, everybody's saying that. So, but it would be great to find those fiscal areas that we could share stuff on.
Yeah.
And I don't know about the healthcare bill. I'm not sure what was going on, but it simply, it made it through the House, it made it through the Senate, got beat it.
Could you give a copy of that to us, or could we borrow it to, so, you know, that we can?
It has a little star that I wrote on, but otherwise it's clean. I have an extra, actually, I should have brought the clean book. It's got my notes all over it.
Oh, it's always more interesting.
Well, as long as you guys give us updates on what, what's being covered and we'll have it approved.
You can take that. I have an extra book, and I don't really even need those.
We all
notes.
care about educating the children, we just don't care about where our toilet paper comes from.
Having been a superintendent in Massachusetts under Proposition 2.5 for a good number of years, every year we would have forums with the superintendents of, can we save this way, that way, and a lot of things sound like good ideas, but in reality, there's not a lot of savings there.
I made this remark in the quarterly. I don't know if it was very popular or not, but in reality, when the state talks about regionalization and making one district or not, the only true savings you get, because they're talking about administrative savings, and one of the statistics that Tim Duffy shared was that Rhode Island is 8th in the country in students to teacher ratio. Okay, so we're up there in students to teacher. We're high in terms of how few students we have per teacher, but in administratives to students, we're 45th. So we're very lean on administration. So the idea that we would save big bucks by cutting out a superintendent here or there, it's just not going to happen. Where you save the money is closing schools. That's the only way you save the money. When you regionalize and you close, especially in a state where that has declining enrollment in most districts, that's where you save the money. I leaned over to NK and said, we'll take your Southern District kids anytime you want. We've got room.
Who was there from NK?
Dick Wells. Well, we've got to get us some more kids there. Some paying ones.
Because we have 103 extra ones right now. So
It's not the extra ones. As enriching as they are, we want the money. All right. Should we move on? I will keep everybody posted if anything earth-shattering happens at the shared services meeting on this Saturday, but I have to say my expectation is not high.
Wait with bated breath.
I think we'll still be spinning.
Yeah, Twitter that, will you?
Yeah. It's good. New business for discussion and possible action, homeschooling, information on these requests.
Gwen has worked with these families, has collected and reviewed all of their documentation in their application, and it is her recommendation that school committee approve the homeschools for, is this all one family? For the PD Hull homeschool and for the Cole homeschool.
I move to accept the Director of Student Services request for homeschooling.
Just a question. What date in the school year must the applications be submitted and approved? I mean, we're in December, and this is
They
for
can
the
do
school.
it at any time.
At any time.
But the law says they have to stay in school until, they have to be going to school.
In the meantime,
In the
as
meantime,
the
yes.
approval is, okay.
I mean, that's one reason that they rush on trying to get these approved, so that this was important to these families.
Thank you.
And I believe both of them have homeschooled previously.
Yes.
Are these students currently, is the 9th grade student currently enrolled at anything?
9th grade?
Yeah.
Rebecca, you watch that? I'm ready to
Not the one I have.
Oh, no.
We have the wrong families here.
Yeah, and people,
We have two. We have